Since I had some extra days before Riley's graduation, I went by work, just to say hi and not work. I did another repair, not mentioned in the last video. I Frankensteined 2 damaged trekking poles together to make a good one. My parents visited for Riley's graduation, and of course the graduation was an all-day affair.
Riley Sweet. Allison Kelly Hearn. Rashida Dwivedi.
Riley chose to use his graduation present to take the whole family to the World Cup game. That delayed my return to the trail by 3 days, but it was well worth it. I went back to the trail with Adam. He hiked 166 miles with the PCT in sections with me. We planned to do 2 sections together on the CDT so we could experience a resupply. Some might call that a lash. The plan was to cover 87 trail miles. We got back to Frisco at the end of a 2-day drive. It was too late to start hiking, so we stayed at the snowshoe again. We went down to Ein Prost for dinner. It was good. I was so happy. The snowshoe had breakfast, but it didn't start till 7, so we got to the trailhead a little late. We got back on the trail in the middle of the Silverthorne alternate. It's a 40-mile trail that cuts off 80 miles of the CDT, which includes Gray's Peak, the highest point on the trail. I thought it was a good idea to avoid Gray's Peak because Adam lives at sea level. Don't worry, he'd get lots of high elevation though. Real fast, we were already looking way down on the town of Silverthorne. Our goal was reasonable that first day. Yes, we had to go over Ptarmigan Pass. To get there, we had to go over 12,000 feet. The initial climb was 4.5 miles long and rose 500 feet per mile. After that, we'd descend to a mere 10,400 feet to camp. The day's hike would only be 9 miles. On the way up, we looked down to see a paraglider. Near the top, we went right onto what Far Out called a route junction. Turns out the route in question was the Silverthorne alternate. The well-groomed trail went to Ptarmigan Peak. From there to well after Ptarmigan Pass, there wasn't much of a trail, just rock cairns. Adam relied on me to determine the path. Of course, I'm not used to being responsible for another's path. Normally, if I screw up, it's just me that suffers. I tried to balance the red line, the traverse steepness, the snowfields, and where the cairns were. I think I did a pretty good job. Adam is a bit of a butterfly expert. Near summits, he's always pointing out a particular butterfly that comes in lots of colors. Apparently, they love summits, which causes butterfly hunters to climb much higher than they'd like. I finally grokked the name, and I'm going to try to repeat it here. Parnassian butterfly. I was so relieved when we finally got over the pass and we were heading down. The trail was easy to follow, although it had lots of blowdowns. We got to the planned camp spot on the shore of South Fork of the Williams Fork around 5. The next day we had a couple of big climbs. On the way up to the first, we had a couple of water crossings that really wanted to get our shoes wet. I got to introduce Adam to a male dusky grouse, which was pretty magnificent. Our first climb was up to 12,300 feet from our campsite at 10,400 feet. Above the tree line, we were back to following cairns and not a trail for a while. When the trail reappeared, we had to deal with the most challenging spots of the day. First was this knife edge of crumbling rock. After the knife edge was a rapidly melting cornice that was revealing gopher eskers. I was so proud of myself. I could tell Adam about eskers. Usually he's telling me about the fascinating stuff we're passing. We had a short reprieve after the knife edge while we traversed a bowl-like valley. A marmot always brightens the day. Then we had a terribly steep climb over a saddle that was made of the same crumbling rock. I didn't get any footage of the climb because I was too busy trying not to fall. That expression tells you everything you need to know about the climb up to the saddle. The valley beyond the saddle shows a road to Jones Pass and our second big climb of the day. The valley was very pleasant, even though the trail kept eluding us. Of course, looming over us the whole time was Jones Pass, reminding us not to enjoy ourselves too much. This old avalanche debris field was really impressive. Just before the climb, we rested under the eaves of a building that stored road servicing equipment. The road was steep, 790 feet per mile, and it was 3 miles long. I have to admit I abandoned Adam. I put in my earbud and just listened to my big climb playlist to deal with the exertion. This is a view from half a mile from the top. At the top, we rejoined the CDT. At Jones Pass, a family that had drove there was playing in the snow despite the blistering wind. Adam and I still had to climb to 12,800 feet, but at a less severe angle before we could finally start going down. I was hoping to get low so we could camp out of the wind, but Adam just didn't have any gas in the tank. I scouted ahead, hoping one of the upcoming saddles afforded some protection. The first one did nothing, but the second caused the 60-mile-an-hour winds to drop to only about 20 miles an hour. The little saddle was at 12,500 feet. It would be the highest I have ever camped at. It was challenging putting up our tents. As soon as we did, we jumped inside and hunkered down until morning. The view out of my tent was of Adam's tent and the top of the saddle's cornice. It was a tough 12-mile day. In the morning, it was blistering cold, so we just packed up and left. Breakfast and the other, morning task would have to wait until we were at a lower elevation. While climbing down, I saw a ptarmigan for the first time. Then a pika that was vocalizing. The trail came down the north face, so we had some snow. While relaxing, a marmot got real friendly with me. Winding our way down, we got the view of US Highway 40. Berthoud Pass on the highway would be the end of our hike and the end of the section. It wasn't all downhill, though. We had to climb up to the top of Stanley Mountain summit before our final descent. The climb was even steeper than the road to Jones Pass. Although it was only 1.2 miles, we had to climb 916 feet per mile. I think that's the steepest sustained climb so far. While I waited for Adam near the top, I spoke to Julie on the phone. I had a view of this mountainside. Don't you think it looks like a seahorse head? With the summit at our back, we were blasted by wind. US Highway 40 beckoned us forward. Off in the distance, we saw clouds dumping precipitation. Surely it wouldn't come our way. The precipitation was hail. After it passed, we heard thunderclaps, but we were already on our way down. Finally at the road, we weren't interested in the rest area. We wanted a hitch. Adam and I stood there with our thumbs out for an hour before a kind local gentleman gave us a ride to the Holiday Express in Fraser, which was conveniently located near an outfitter, a grocery store, and a brewery. Trail stop checklist. Silverthorne, check. Fraser, check.